Ralph and Alice in Monument, Colorado have $4.6 million saved at ages 63 and 58. Should they do Roth conversions? Mary Jo in Escondido, California wonders if she should use her 403B money to pay off her mortgage. And Lucas has a plan to spend from his brokerage, then his 401k, then his Social Security and pension when he retires in 20 years. What do Joe and Big Al think of his strategy? We'll find out today on Your Money, Your Wealth podcast number 534. I'm executive producer Andy Last, traveling in a fried out combi as you listen or watch this, with the hosts of Your Money, Your Wealth, Joe Anderson, CFP, who is actually visiting fam in Minnesota at the moment, and currently in the home of ABBA, Big Al Clopine, CPA. To ask your money questions or to get a retirement spitball analysis of your own, click or tap Ask Joe and Big Al in the episode description, watch my how-to video to find out how to make it a good one, then send it on in as an email or a voice message like this one.
Hey guys, this is Ralph and Alice calling from Monument, Colorado. I love your show. I stumbled upon it just by browsing through my financial podcasts, and you guys came as one of the better ones. I've been listening to you ever since, and I love it. Anyway, I would love to hear your retirement spitball analysis from me. I'm mostly concerned at a strategy for Roth conversions. I've only been doing about $20,000 a year, but before I get to that, let me give you all the numbers. Number one, been a diligent saver most of my life. I have $2 million in tax-deferred IRAs. Of that $2 million, $1 million is mine, and about $1 million is my wife. I have a taxable account of $1.5 million, and then I also have a tax-free Roth of $1 million and an HSA of $100,000. Currently, I am 63 years old. My wife is 58. I retired about a year ago. I have a pension. I get $41,000 a year for the rest of my life, no COLA adjustment. My wife is still working at 58. She's a teacher. She wants to go 2 more years. She makes about $70,000, but she will have a pension upon retirement at age 60, of which that pension will be $42,000 a year. She's got 2 years to go before tapping into that. As far as Social Security, I am going to delay my Social Security until age 70. That will amount to annually about $56,000 a year. We use that Mike Piper Open Security app to decide our Social Security strategy, and stated my wife should probably apply early at age 62. And thankfully, the windfall elimination provision and the government offset provision, or whatever that thing was called, that was eliminated. So her Social Security from the private sector will apply fully. And at age 62, she'll be able to take out $9,200 a year. And then the strategy was at age 65, and again, I'd be applying at 70. She would apply for the spousal benefit, and her total Social Security would be $17,447 a year. Annual spending during retirement, we're not spending too much, $60,000 to $70,000 a year. We do own our house free and clear. It's worth about $1.1 million. The biggest issue I have is trying to figure out these Roth conversions. As I said, I'm doing about $20,000 a year now, but I would entertain going a little bit higher, because I think the tax man's going to bite me later on as that tax deferred account starts to grow, and I'm trying to do a balancing act and stay below IRMAA and play that game, but I would just love your suggestions and your advice. That's about all I've got. Oh, as far as the beer I drink, Guinness Stout, love it, although it's getting a little high on the calories at my older age. And as far as the car I drive, and I'm not a liberal, but I guess now they criticize conservatives for driving these things. I drive a Tesla Model Y. It's probably the most innovative and greatest car I've ever owned. That's it, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right. Well, Ralph and Alice.
The honeymooners.
Honeymooners.
Yeah, that's right.
60 years old. He's tripping over dollars to pick up some pennies here, Big Al.
I think his biggest problem is he needs to spend more, enjoy life.
He's got $70,000 is what he's spending. His fixed income, $70,000.
Yeah, it's 80, right? And then he's got almost $5 million.
Yeah, and his Social Security is going to come in 10 years or 8 years. He's going to have more fixed income than he's actually spending.
Right.
So he's got $2.5 million, let's call it, for him and his wife, right, in retirement accounts. Let's say his RMD age is 73. Hers will be 75. I don't know, you double that. So 2.5 is now 5 because they're not touching it. Who knows what it's
Correct.
invested in, but that could easily double in 10 years.
Yep.
His
Agreed.
RMD is going to be $200,000
Yeah, just from
plus
that part.
the pensions of, call it, $80,000 plus
Right.
Social Security of another 100,000.
Plus the taxable money that will probably double all those
Yeah, kick out
dividends.
dividends and interest and so
Yeah.
he's worried about IRMAA.
Right.
I mean, he's going to pay the highest IRMAA. So I would try to get as much money out of the Roth or out of the retirement accounts as he possibly can with these lower rates, 22%, 24%, right? I would probably kick it to the 24. He's got plenty of cash outside. He's got to run the numbers himself. I guarantee he's got spreadsheets. He's got a calculator. He can look at this. And if he's doing $20,000 a year, because what he's trying to do is stay in the lower Medicare premium payments, but it's a few $100s a month or a couple $1,000s a year. He's going to have to pay that he's going to be in the highest IRMAA for the rest of his life. So I would get over that and start thinking about how to maneuver things, to avoid some of this tax time bomb. Now, if Ralph or Alice were to die prematurely, if Ralph predeceases Alice, a lot of that money that they've grown is now going to be forced out at that same level, but it's going to be taxed even more because now Alice is a single taxpayer. No offense, Ralph, for killing you off first, but we usually go first.
To the moon, Ralph.
Well, yes. So when you think of IRMAA, so for our engineers and accountants and all of those out there that really like to get this dialed in correctly, just think of the extra IRMAA amount that you're going to be paying in 2 years from now. Just think of that, add that to the tax that you're going to pay to figure out what your effective rate is. And what we're saying, what Joe is saying, and I agree, is even when you add that in, it's going to be a pretty low rate relative to what it's going to be when you pull all that money out, the required minimum distributions. And remember, that's first year only. Every year it goes up after that, right? So it's going to be a higher and higher amount. Add that to your pensions and Social Security. And oh, by the way, your income from your non-taxable, or I should say taxable accounts, non-retirement accounts, that's all income too. So yeah, you're going to be in a pretty high tax bracket. So I would keep going. I would even consider going to the top of the 24% bracket. But I agree with Joe. You got to run the numbers yourself to figure out how this is going to be. I'm not sure. I don't think you mentioned kids, where this money goes to, what your long-term goals are at the end of life, but that should factor into this too.
Right. If it's charity, he can do QCDs, at least of 100,000 of it. But IRMAA, so this is just Medicare premiums. And so what Medicare does is take a look at your overall modified adjusted gross income. And then depending on where you fall 2 years prior, excuse me, is going to be your Medicare premium amount. And so I'm guessing, so he's married, finally joint. He wants to stay under that 200,000 where your Medicare Part B premium is $175. I'm rounding up, 174.70. So if he goes to the top of the 24 out, his income is going to be top of the 24 is 383.
Yeah. So let's go with that one because that's near the top of the 24.
It's going to go from $175 a month to $450 a month.
Right.
So what is that? $275 extra a month?
Yeah, call it 300 times 12. Call it 3,500, right? So that's the extra he's going to pay for IRMAA. So just consider that a little extra tax, right? And if it still makes,
yeah, he wants to save $3,500. That's the delta, right? Because if he doesn't convert, because he wants to convert and stay in that lower Medicare premium, I get it. $3,500. I mean, that's a lot of money to him. That's why he's got $5 million. because it's like, what the hell? 3,500 is a ton of cash. I don't want to spend that unnecessarily, but he's going to give it away to tax. So you just take a look at the top of the 24% tax bracket, then you calculate whatever tax that is, and then you add on the $3,500, and then you can find your effective rate. It's still going to be a very good rate, given if tax rates go up, and which I believe they will by the time he turns 75 or 73 when he has to take his RMDs. I mean, he's going to be in probably a lot higher tax bracket than he is today, and I would take advantage for sure of these lower rates, and then I would just add back in the IRMAA, and I think he'd be really happy that he did so. But you're speculating on higher. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to Medicare, what Medicare premiums are going to be. I have no idea what tax rates are going to be. But given where the law is today, and given history, given the amount of money that he has, the IRS really likes people like Ralph and Alice because they have a ton of cash in retirement accounts that has never, ever been taxed. He's going to pay at some point, or the kids are going to pay, or spouse is going to pay. So I think the best move is don't necessarily think about tripping IRMAA. I'd be thinking more long-term of how I can really maximize the tax code today and save the most amount of taxes over my life.
Yep, I am right with you.
You look at it year by year, you're going to make a different decision if you look at it over the next 20 years.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. And then particularly, we don't know anything about the health of the two of them. If one of them has more impaired health and the other one will survive, they'll be in the single tax rates. This will be even worse than what we just said. So consider all that too.
All right. Good luck. Congratulations on quite the retirement.
There's the investing rule of 72, the 80% retirement spending rule, the retirement spending smile, the 4% rule, 100 minus your age for asset allocation. Are any of these financial formulas worth anything? There are rules of thumbs to live by and others that can completely derail your retirement dreams. Discover which ones may be your golden ticket and which ones are your one-way ticket to trouble. This week on Your Money, Your Wealth TV with Joe Anderson CFP and Big Al Clopine CPA. Click the link in the description of today's episode to watch Is There a Formula for Retirement on YMYW TV. Then click through to our YouTube channel and leave us a comment to tell us what you think. Also, download the Retirement Readiness Guide for free to learn the secrets to controlling your taxes in retirement, creating income to last a lifetime, making the most of your retirement investing strategy, and much more. These 7 plays will boost your retirement readiness despite the uncertainties of market volatility, inflation, rising healthcare costs, and the future of Social Security and Medicare. Just click or tap the links in the description of today's episode in your favorite podcast app to access all of these free financial resources.
Mary Jo's writing in. Hey, I'm about to retire in 4 months. I have 15 years left on my mortgage. I have enough money in my 403B to pay off my loan. Is this a good idea? I'll be receiving a pension from my employer as well, and I'll be taking my Social Security. I'm 65. Mary Jo.
I emailed her and asked her for more information, and she hasn't responded yet. So this is what we have to work with.
No, absolutely not. Do not take money out of your retirement account to pay off the mortgage.
I knew you were going to say that. And unfortunately, I agree. And here's why. It's because if you take money out of your 403B, it's fully taxable. So you're going to have to take more money out of the 403B to pay the tax so that you can have a net amount to pay the mortgage. And you're going to be surprised how quickly that 403B account just gets swallowed up by taxes. So so not only are the taxes all at one time, but it pushes you in a higher bracket. You'll pay a lot more tax than you should. Yeah, you just don't want to do that. It's just not a good idea.
We've seen it so many times. We've seen people take money out of retirement accounts to buy homes. And so, oh yeah, I want to buy my dream lake home. And all the liquidity is in the retirement account.
Right.
And they don't want to have a mortgage. So they take the $500,000 out of the retirement account and they buy the house. Or in Mary Jo's case, she lives in Escondido. So I don't know, it's a 15-year note. I'm guessing it's got to be a few $100,000. So she's got enough money. She's got just enough money in the 403B, Al, to pay off the note. So guess what? She takes that $250,000 out of her 403B. She pays off the note. April 15th, she's going to get a tax bill of what? 80 grand.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say 100 grand, which she doesn't have. Right. So then she goes and gets a mortgage for the 100 grand, but she has no money at all because the 403B is gone. So now it's like, oh, now I got to pay this mortgage and I got no money.
Right. I mean, that's what happens. The $250,000, you take a huge check like that. It's like, well, that's $250,000 of ordinary income on top of whatever income that you have. Let's just assume that that puts her in the 24% tax bracket plus state here in California is 10. That's 34%. 34% on 250,000. It's a big number.
Yeah.
It's $80,000. She doesn't have the liquidity because all of the money, all the liquid cash was in her retirement account.
Yeah. I mean,
now she can't get a loan because she's retired. And she doesn't have any liquid assets because she wrote the check out of her 403B to pay the note.
We had this exact case, Joe, you and I 15 years ago. Remember? The guy who came in was so proud. Joe, Al, you're not going to believe it. I took out all the money from my 401k and I paid off the mortgage. I am so proud. I have no mortgage. We said, well, what about the tax money? Because we computed it. It was close to 100,000. Where are you going to get that? He goes, oh, I didn't figure that. And of course, then not only is the 100,000 is probably penalties for not making estimated payments timely, right? so you got all of that. Fortunately, in that particular case, he'd taken the money out and he returned it within the 60-day rollover rules. So he was able to get out of it. But yeah, just it's tricky. Can be.
All right. Well, hopefully we caught Mary Jo in time. If it's like $5,000 mortgage left, then sure. But the way she framed the question, it was like, I have just enough in my 403B to pay off my mortgage. All right. Let's go to Lucas. Looking for some advice on my plan. All right. Let's go to the next question. We don't give advice here, Lucas.
Change the word advice to spitball.
All right. My wife and I are 35 and 36. She drives a 2015 Chevy Tahoe, and I drive a work truck mostly, provided by the company. I also have an older Tahoe, 2007. She just won't give up going on 250,000 miles. My wife drinks champagne and margaritas. I drink old fashions and Manhattans. Blanton's neat. It's a great nightcap. Gotta tell you, never had a Blanton.
I don't even know what that is. Do you?
It appears to be bourbon. Blanton's neat. Blanton bourbon.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy's 30 and he's drinking old fashions, Manhattans, and Blattons.
Yeah, he's old school.
Don't you got to at least get to 60?
Hey, you like old fashions and you're like 37.
I'll have one old fashioned like every couple months, one a quarter, maybe. Well, I did find this mix. I forget. It's like in an orange bottle that it's like pre-made, so you don't actually have to make it. Someone brought that over to the house, and I had a little sip of that. I thought that was okay.
It was all right. Okay.
But anyway, all right. So in my younger years, oh boy, I would mix wine and Jack Daniels. You should try it. Oh, you'll love the hangover. It just sounds awful.
Yeah.
Two pretty okay kids, 12 and 6. Okay, pretty okay.
Pretty okay.
All right, we vacation a lot.
It doesn't say if that's with the kids or without.
Yeah, I don't know. They're only okay, so probably not. Yeah. We go 10 days in Mexico, 2 weeks in Europe, and they do this every year. Also own a lake home. We spend a lot of time at. Looking for $10,000 to $12,000 a month in retirement. We earn about $375,000 annually. We have $830,000 in a 401k, $100,000 in a Roth, and we both max out the 401ks at $23,500. 4% max or 4% match. So only about $9,000 match combined. We have $25,000 in brokerage, and we contribute about $9,000 or $1,000 a month. It took $100,000 for a down payment on a cabin recently. Okay, 529s are $42,000 and $31,000. We contribute $600 a month, $50,000 in savings. We want to retire at 56 and 55. Have a pension option to collect around $400,000 at 55 or collect $3,500 a month with no survivor benefit at 62. Also, a small retirement through the Union Hall. Our combined social and pensions, if we collect at 62, would be roughly $7,400 a month. Both employers and 401k use the rule of 55 if needed. Do you think it's achievable to live off the brokerage from 56 to 59 and a half? Not worried about depleting the brokerage. 401k and after 59 and a half, and supplement my withdrawals at 62 with Social Security and pension. We will end up contributing more to the brokerage when the kids' 529 plans are done and the mortgages are paid. 9 years left on the primary and 11 years left on the lake home. Thanks. Right. Okay. So now we got to do some math here.
Well, here's the math I did. Because when you're 20 years away and changing cash flows, it makes this rather difficult. But I just looked at what they're saving right now. Between the two 401ks, the match, and the 529, they're saving about 63 grand out of their salary of 375. That's about 17% savings rate, which is great. We tell people if you can get up to 20, you could probably retire kind of any way that you want to. Maybe not any way that you want to, but you can have a very nice retirement. And they're probably actually saving more than that because they're buying cabins and and things like that. So I think the savings rate is good. Whether they'll have enough in brokerage in 20 years from now is virtually impossible to say, since they're not really saving in a brokerage right now, I think. But I would say another point here, Joe, would be it looks like he's trying to spend different monies at different times, and I've never thought that was a very good idea. I think you got to have a formal withdrawal strategy when you get to that point. And since they'll be over 55, they can take from their 401k, which probably they'll want to. They'll probably want to fill up lower brackets and even do Roth conversions and not necessarily live completely off of brokerage. Or if the brokerage account's really high, live off of that, but do Roth conversions to then put more money into the Roth. I mean, there's all kinds of things they can do, but we're talking about something 20 years from now, which is a bit hard to predict. So I'm going to go back to my original thought on this, which is I think the savings rate is really good. I think they'll probably be able to retire early, and which monies they'll use or what's the right distribution strategy, that would be figured out when they're much closer to retirement. That's what I think.
He's 35, wants to retire 55.
Yep.
So let's figure it out for him. All right. So he wants to spend $12,000 a month, correct?
Yep. But then you have to inflate that.
144,000, 20 years. Let's use 3.5% inflation.
Okay.
So he wants to spend $286,000 in future dollars.
Right.
All right. So he's got $900,000 today. And so let's say, and he's saving 60 grand a year with match.
Yeah, I get 63.
$63,000 a year. And you got 20 years, and I'm going to assume a 7% growth rate, which will be $6 million in 20 years.
Okay.
All right. So at 55, let's say he takes 3.5% out of that account, which is going to give him about $212,000 of distribution at a 3.5% burn rate at 55.
Right.
I think he's good because that's not including his pension. That's going to give him another $3,500 a month. That's not including Social Security. Yeah, I think you could bridge the gap there at 55, but I wouldn't worry about draining the brokerage. You're 55. Take it from the retirement accounts.
Yeah, because you retire after 55, and you can do that without penalty.
Yeah, so it's not like draining the brokerage account in cash and then pushing my retirement account. You want to have a mixture. You're probably going to take a little bit from your retirement account, a little bit from the Roth, and a little bit from the brokerage account to keep you in the lowest tax bracket possible. Through your overall entire retirement. So, yeah. But no, I think he's in. The guy's 35 has got $1 million liquid.
It's amazing.
Absolutely just bought amazing. A cap.
Yeah, right. In addition
and
to
then
his
he goes
house.
to Mexico for 10 days, and he has wine and Jack Daniels when he's at the cabin.
Right. Yep. No, and
He
like
goes to Europe for 2 weeks. Then maybe go to Europe for a week. And and save that, and you can retire at 50.
And don't take the OK Kids.
What's up with the OK Kids? Kids are okay. I don't know. Are they okay, like in good health, or I don't know.
yeah.
Never wanted them. Never really cared for them.
Hopefully they're not listening.
What are they, 6 and 12?
Yeah. If he
Sure
plays
loves.
if he plays it in the car and they happen to be in the car.
I'm sure if they're anything like my kids,
They won't be listening.
oh, yeah, not compute. All right, are we good?
Sure.
Wonderful. Alan, how long are you in Hawaii?
I'm here the rest of this week and next week. Then I'm back.
Wow, how's the weather? You look like you got sunburn already.
Yeah, it's 80 degrees right now. Water's about 75. It's lovely. It's perfect.
Gonna go head out for a little snorkel after this, or?
I think so. Yeah.
And some rum.
Yeah. I don't normally sit inside in the afternoon unless I have to. It's a little warm in here. And that's in my shorts.
Oh, well, we'll get you outside.
Yeah. Okay. All good. Cool.
All right. Wonderful. Thanks, Andy. Great job, Al. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time at Your Money or Wealth.
This is Your Money, Your Wealth, Your podcast. If you enjoy YMYW, do us a favor and tell your friends. It helps us to reach more listeners like you. And don't forget to leave your honest reviews, comments, and ratings for Your Money, Your Wealth in Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, and in all the other apps that let you do that. That would be Amazon, Audible, CastBox, Good Pods, Pandora, Player FM, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. We are on all of them. Your Money, Your Wealth is presented by Pure Financial Advisors. To really learn how to make the most of your money and your wealth in retirement, you need more than a spitball. Schedule a no-cost, no-obligation, comprehensive financial assessment with the experienced professionals on Joe and Big Al's team at Pure. Click or tap the free financial assessment link in the episode description or call 888-994-6257 to book yours. Meet in person at any of our locations nationwide or online right from your couch. No matter where you are, the Pure team will work with you to create a detailed plan that's tailored to meet your goals and your needs in retirement. Pure Financial Advisors is a registered investment advisor. This show does not intend to provide personalized investment advice through this podcast and does not represent that the securities or services discussed are suitable for any investor. As rules and regulations change, podcast content may become outdated. Investors are advised not to rely on any information contained in the podcast in the process of making a full and informed investment decision.